Hi everybody, so welcome to the latest episode of At Home with Ross. So today we have a Steve Evans from Genesis Advisory, just based in Warrington. So Steve works with business protection, so it thought it'd be great to have him on today to discuss his business and sort of the impact of the pandemic on his clients and things. So thanks very much for coming along, Steve.
No, thanks for the invite, Ross. Really appreciate it. It's great.
No worries. So I'll hand over to you quite quickly, really. So what's the tell us about your business, if you can just introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, Genesis Advisory. We are a fully independent insurance broker, predominantly focused on business protection. So we'll work with businesses small and large, looking at covering things like relevant life, shareholder protection, key person cover, and loan protection. They're the four key areas of business that we focus on. And a lot of that is still new for businesses. There's a lot of people unaware of what they can do with protection and the benefits of having protection within your business. A lot of people have some misconceptions, particularly around shareholder protection. One, about how expensive it is, but two, actually what it actually does in terms of providing funds to buy shares. People have different assumptions that because somebody owns shares in the business, if anything happens to them, the shares will naturally come back into the business. Well, they don't. It's a personal asset of the individual. So, there's no right for the company to buy those shares, but that's what we do. We sort out all of that, and we make a legal process that enables the business to buy back the shares from an estate, and we also provide the funds to do that.
I suppose it's a difficult one, isn't it? So it's depending who you're speaking to, isn't it, really? Because if you're a small startup and it might just be one person in the business that starts it from a bedroom, the conversation's relatively straightforward. But I suppose as a business hopefully grows, then those conversations are potentially a little bit more complex if you've got people coming into the business to help growth. And I would imagine those situations evolve, and it's just about maybe having that relationship. I would imagine early days. Is that the case, or?
Yeah, I mean, if we look at a startup business, then you look at relevant life, your own life insurance through the business. It's a tax efficient way of doing it. It protects the family because you go into business to make money. You go into business to better your financial situation in most cases. And if anything happens, that ambition for your family and the future of financial security of your family is still there. So we start relevant life, covering the life of the individual. As their business grows, as they introduce partners or equity holders into the business, it's then a different dynamic. You've got an individual that's built the business. You've got somebody else that potentially put some cash in or been brought in with a specific skill set who then owns part of that business. And then if anything happens to either one of those individuals, those shares will pass to the estate. So you could be in a situation where a business owner's left with a business partner that's the family, that's not been involved in the business, doesn't understand the business, but has a right to take cash out of the business.
Okay.
And that can have quite a big impact.
Really quite harmful, wouldn't it? Depending.
It could be, yeah.
Something that could just be completely overlooked. When everything's rosy, everything's great, isn't it? It's when something happens which you don't see or see coming at all, that's when things can come unraveled, I suppose. I mean, we talk about this in relation, and just for clarity with the audience, it's we talk about the life insurance for a mortgage quite a lot, and I suppose, but this is different, isn't it, to like your personal protection. This is more protecting your person, but then doing it through the business and making sure the business is protected. There's a slightly different angle of approach, isn't it?
Yeah, there's two elements. You've got your personal assets. So you've got your house, which is mortgage, which is the kind of stuff you look after in the personal protection. But you've also got an asset in the business, and that asset has a value. And if anything happens to you, you want your family to recognize the value of that asset you've created.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's separate from your, if you like, your house and your other assets. So again, most people go into business for one day, and that day is the day they sell the business. Okay. Because that's when they realize all their efforts and all the hard work that they've put into the business. So if you're doing that and that's your ambition, you'd still want your family to get the benefits of everything that you've done with that business. You'd still want them to get the value out of the business. And what we do is make sure that that happens even if you're not around. You know, we all think we're invincible. We all go into business thinking that it's going to be a great success. And we all overlook quite a few things that in time you understand are very important. So things like articles of association and shareholder agreements. A lot of people don't pay attention to those things, which actually in time become really important. And it's really important about protecting your own personal and your own family financial future.
No, absolutely, yeah. It's really key. It's a conversation we're having regularly with people, and I suppose it's something that's quite intangible, but we need to try and make it tangible, I suppose. But so on that then, so with regards to the current situation we're in, the pandemic, how's that generally impacted your business and Genesis?
I think the biggest impact we've seen is, you know, our business model is we like to see clients face to face.
Yeah.
You know, we build relationships with our clients. We understand their business. We become a trusted advisor. So seeing clients face to face is quite important for us. The biggest impact we've seen is we can't actually do that anymore. So the benefit of that though is we can do things like this. You know, we can have Zoom meetings. We can still kind of see face to face. And I think the other impact has really been the uncertainty around business. You know, uncertainty around future of businesses. When will the lockdown be released? How it gets released? What business sectors will be able to start to trade at what point?
Yeah.
I think that's just massive uncertainty at the minute is causing issues for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I suppose it links into like strategic decisions that you were possibly planning before lockdown, that actually when is the right time to actually press on with them. I don't think there's any real answer to that, is there? And I think that's the challenge we've all got, I think, in business at the moment.
That's, you know, if you were planning a business expansion or investment in kit, infrastructure, assets, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put all of that on hold because you just don't know whether that's now going to be a sound investment in the immediate future. Yeah. Longer term, you might take a view that yes, it is, but right now you're going to protect yourself financially and you know, push the pause button on what you can.
So what sort of approach have you guys been taking then with like your existing clients around? Because I imagine a lot of them are in that boat. So what sort of like approach have you been taking? Is it been a case of regular communication? What's the plan on that one?
Yeah, we've been trying to do reviews with a lot of clients at the minute, and just, you know, from our perspective, give the advice that, you know, protection, particularly in a time like this, is really important.
Yeah, sure.
You know, the uncertainty around business, but the uncertainty around people's future. You know, that this is impacting. It's indiscriminate in the way that the virus is attacking people. So from our perspective, you know, we're advising that protection is still vital. It's still a key part of what needs to be maintained. And the other side of it is it fit for purpose? So from a business perspective, you know, when was the last time we did a review, or for new clients, has there ever been a review to see, you know, does the policy that's in place reflect the value of the business and of the cover needed?
Yeah.
So there's an upside in that we are starting to generate some business that way in terms of those reviews and making sure that things are fit for purpose.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that, isn't it? Because, and I mean this with respect, because obviously people are going through a really difficult time, but it generally makes that conversation slightly easier, because I'd imagine going through your day-to-day life, week in, week out, you possibly don't necessarily always think about what do I have in place. But when something like this happens, we all go back to I think it's our lizard brain, isn't it, where we go to like survival mode and right, what do I have? So I'm probably not the only one that's gone to that drawer we've all got and says, well, actually, right, what do I have in place? Is it fit for purpose? So I think, you know, as a business, if you're doing that, I think that's, you know, reviewing people's existing provision, but also making sure that people don't look at the bank statements and go, well, I can get rid of that as an overhead, or can get rid of that as a commitment, because actually you probably need it more than ever, really, with respect. So, yeah, great. So if I'm a business owner sat at home watching this interview, and I'm sort of like, I'm looking to review how I'm protected. What would you say would be the key things that would be essential to a business owner moving forward?
I think the key elements are, reviewing your existing policies if you've got them. And there's an interesting point I'll make in a minute on this, but review your existing policy. Is it fit for purpose? So does it provide enough funds if anything does happen to protect the business and protect your family? That's the first most important thing. Secondly, is it written into trust?
Yeah.
Making sure it's written into trust is vital for me. Writing your policy into trust effectively puts it outside your estate. And if it's outside your estate, then of the policy, they're not just going to get a part payment because inheritance tax has got to be paid on it. So again, those two aspects are key. The other aspect is if you're a business owner watching this and you haven't got protection, then again, take a conversation. Conversation costs nothing. Understanding the process, understanding the importance of it won't cost you anything. But we got some figures out of Vitality this week. There's just short of 1 million limited companies in the UK that don't have any protection at all.
Wow.
Which is huge. There's 2.7 million sole traders that don't have any life insurance.
It might just be a case of awareness. People don't know.
I think it is.
That they need it.
And I think, from our perspective, nobody wants to talk to us. All of our conversations are about the worst things in life happening. We have daily conversations about people dying. That's the nature of our job. And that's what protection is about. But protection is about having that conversation to protect what you leave behind. It's not self-interest. It's not talking about me. It's actually talking about what happens to my wife and kids and my business, the other side of something happening to me, and what do I leave behind? And, from my perspective, I want to leave my family, hopefully, when they're upset that I've gone, without financial stress.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And that can just compound everything in a wrong way.
No, it's some really good points there. So key bits to take out of there is, reviewing, making sure it's written in trust if that's applicable, and then like I say, if you haven't got any cover, to make sure that you have the right conversations. So yeah, no, thanks for that. It's been really, really insightful on those points you've made. What I'll do is I'll pop in the comments on the video. So if anybody out there is in a position where actually a conversation is free, you might have some questions about some of the points that Steve's made. And by all means, please comment in the comments below. And I'm sure Steve will be more than happy to respond to any queries. Likewise, I'll put Steve's contact details in the comments. So if you did want to make an inquiry or contact Steve, I'm sure he'll be happy to take those inquiries. So thanks very much for coming, Steve. It's been really, really, really good insight that. So thank you.
Oh, thanks for the invite, Ross. I appreciate it.
No worries. So yeah, like I say, thanks very much. And if your business needs protecting, give us a shout. All right. Speak to you soon. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.